Now we'll show you what a Psycho Ranger can do!
Bring it on!
The concept of evil Power Rangers has come back time and time again since the first Green Ranger appeared on the screen. And while Power Rangers Turbo and Power Rangers Wild Force both had their own versions of the Shadow Rangers, they were by far less interesting than the Psycho Rangers, with their cool designs that screams evil and their thirst for violence. The Psycho Rangers set the standard for mirror-like villains. In today's video, I'll start by explaining these monstrous warriors' origin story, describe their abilities, talk about Astronema, and finally the more recent Psycho Green. Get your morphers ready, cause it's evil morphin' time!
Once evil, always evil.
The Psycho Rangers are, as you might have guessed, basically evil versions of the Power Rangers. They act as villains in two Rangers series, Power Rangers in Space and Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. While the monster forms of Psycho Blue and Psycho Pink make a cameo during Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, there are 5 original Psycho Rangers: red, black, blue, yellow, and pink. Another one of those evil doers, Psycho Green, has been added to the team in 2016, and we'll get back to him in the last entry of this video. But for now, let's focus on these 5. Each Psycho Ranger has a similar costume coming in a different palette. They sport black boots with spiky white knee pads, which can serve to protect their knees, but also allows them to perform quite a knee strike. The almost entirety of their armor is black, but a yellow sign on their belt and their bat wings-inspired torso colored differently depending on the Ranger. They also wear these cool Batman-esque helmet featuring sharp teeth and quite an evil permanent glare. While they are quite alike in many ways, they have their own unique personalities and style. Let's start with Psycho Red, who is based on Andros, the Red Space Ranger. Psycho Red has absorbed Andros' brainwaves, literally making him a mirror version of the Red Space Ranger. This makes him equally skilled to Andros when it comes to combat, which in a way makes the fight fair. But the trouble comes from Psycho Red's personality. Red Rangers have been positioned as team leaders, making them what glues the whole team together. When it comes down to Psycho Red, he's the total opposite, being selfish and arrogant. He often gets into fights with his own team. On one side, his disloyalty can be seen as a weakness, but on another, it proves that he would go to any length to get what he wants. Each Psycho Ranger comes with a weapon of their own. In the case of Red, he wields a powerful dark sword, which mimics Andros' weapon to some extent. Unlike the Power Rangers who have Zords, which turn into Megazords when combined, the Psycho Rangers transform just like typical villains would. After a few cool arm movements, and the well-known puff of smoke appears around them, they can grow into gigantic humanoid monsters, each having their own elemental powers. Psycho Red transforms into a fire-themed monster with sharp horn-like flames all over his body. Just like in his original form, Psycho Red has the same sword, but obviously bigger, and can shoot electricity through his fingers, making sparks fly. Woohoo! Look at that. Combined with his team powers, he can shoot a devastating red electric charge, sending the Power Rangers Megazords flying. Psycho Black's costume differs slightly from the others, as his collar is golden instead of white, but the rest is pretty much the same. Acting as second in command, he's the voice of reason for the team, being way more level-headed than Psycho Red. His choice of weapon is a 2-headed spear called the Psychosphere, which helps him reach his opponents mid-range. When he transforms, he becomes this titan-sized boulder of rocks, giving him a strong level of defense, while he can literally use his head while on offensive mode, crashing right into a Megazord. Next, we have Psycho Pink, who not only has one weapon, but 2. First, she can fight long range with her Psycho Bow, which shoots blue laser arrows, and the second she owns is the OP Savage Sword. The sword grows more powerful as it absorbs the energy from the people she attacks. But that's not all. The power that is now within the sword can be transferred to its wielder, which gives Psycho Pink healing abilities, and a boost in power. Her monster form is also pretty intense, as he transforms into this ugly-looking carnivorous plant thingy. The independent Psycho Yellow uses the Psycho Sling to fight with the Rangers, and can transform into this nightmare-inducing spider hornet hybrid atrocity. Oh god. And when it comes to the pretentious Psycho Blue, he wields the scary-looking Psycho Axe, and transforms into what can be considered the opposite of Psycho Red's Flame Monster, an ice creature, which uses gigantic ice birds mounted on his arms and shoulders to cause maximum damage. Now that I explained what these 5 psychos are all about, let's take a look at how and why they were created. The Psycho Rangers were created by a villain called Astronema. Before I get to her reasons behind creating this bunch of maniacs, let's dive into her backstory. The purple-haired, evil Astronema's original name was Corone. Before going dark, she was the Red Space Ranger Andros' sister. But her life was changed when she was kidnapped by the villain Darkona. The girl grew up to be the chief lieutenant of one of the biggest evil rulers in the universe, Dark Spectre. The villain was the leader of the United Alliance of Evil, which, as the name suggests, did lots of evil things. The Grand Monarch of Evil, who looks like a nuclear mutation of the Blue Lagoon monster, forged into one of the most capable evildoers in the galaxy. As she was told that the Power Rangers were responsible for the death of her family, she grew to hate them. That is until she eventually discovered her true origin and teamed up with Andros to find Zordon. Everything else hinted towards a happy ending for the united siblings, but tragedy struck once more as she was brainwashed. Her reprogramming did not just make her go back to darkness, but made her way more evil than ever, as she decided she wanted to overthrow Dark Spectre himself. And this is where the Psycho Rangers enter the game. She created the 5 powerful Rangers in order to end the Power Rangers, but also to drain Dark Spectre of his powers. Astronema was out for revenge, and everyone had a price to pay. Eventually, Dark Spectre did get destroyed and his throne was taken over, but by Dark Honda. Now, Astronema wouldn't let all her good work go to waste, so she did what she had to do to get rid of the new ruler, and she crowned herself Queen of Evil. While she sent her 5 Psycho Rangers out to do her bidding, the Red Space Ranger eventually got to her directly. Andros, probably trying to get his sister back, infiltrated Astronema's ship, but she was not having such a good day and shot an energy bolt at him. Unfortunately for her, the bolt bounced back to her and it was lethal. This is where one of the most tragic events in the entire Power Rangers series happened, Zordon's death. While the Rangers finally found Zordon, Andros was forced to break the floating head's tube, which ended his life, but unleashed an amazingly powerful energy wave which spanned across galaxies. The wave destroyed most of the monsters and other villains, while purifying Lord Zed, Divatox, Rita Repulsa, and also Astronema. After all that chaos and drama, she was brought back to life once more as Corone, and eventually took the place of the Pink Galaxy Ranger after Pink Psycho's attack on the original one. While Astronema, prior to being revived as Corone, was an amazing strategist, she was also a great warrior. She excels at hand-to-hand combat, but also at wielding weapons. As a child, she learned the dark magic arts, and since that time was so good at it, she was given the Wrath Staff as a gift. The silver, golden, and red staff features a diamond-shaped head with sharp edges. With it, she can use black magic as she fires energy blasts, while also taking over the control of her enemy's body. The Queen of Evil has also shown that she can use telekinesis as a child, and can teleport whenever and wherever she wants. While Mama Psycho gave birth to her 5 Psycho Rangers, another one of those lurks in the universe. Let's turn to today's video's final entry to find out who he is. Of course, the team is never complete without another evil Green Ranger. The Psycho Green is a comic book exclusive character and was first introduced in Boom Studios' Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The character, originally known as Trek, or the Green Supersonic Rangers, has a special ability unique to the character. He has a gem embedded on his forehead, which grants him the power to be constantly connected to the morphing grid. This allows him to throw green energy blasts whether or not he is transformed. Trek is what we call an empath, which means he can sense people's emotions. Some people would use that power to help others or to understand people better, but not Trek. He uses this to his advantage by manipulating Ace, the Supersonic Red Ranger, eventually leading Red and his whole team towards their end. While Trek never saw eye to eye with Ace, something eventually changed in him, as the Supersonic Pink Ranger named Star couldn't use her mind-reading ability on him at some point. Star was right to be concerned, since a bit after she started to be worried, Trek led them to a building where explosives were waiting for them. However, the trap did not succeed in finishing Ace, so the cold-blooded Green Ranger took care of it. Just to locate you in time, this is set before Astronema took the throne, way in the past in 1869. It was revealed that Trek was actually working for the monstrous-looking Dark Spectre all along. What happens next molds Trek as a future merciless villain. Dark Spectre uses his magic to turn Trek into Psycho Green. The new Psycho Ranger has the exact same design as the other 5, while sporting a flashy green. His weapon of choice has a striking resemblance to Tommy Oliver's Dragon Dagger, which gives me a weird sense of rap nostalgia, as this new evildoer feels more than off. Its monstrous form is rather devilish, as he wears 2 long pointy horns on his head, and a bright light comes out of his hollowed mouth full of sharp teeth, 2 eyes, and a forehead gem. Green flames also are up from his shoulders and head, making it look as if he's overpowered with energy. Now you might wonder why he wasn't destroyed or purified by Zordon's energy wave later on when Andros destroyed Zordon's tube. Well, it turns out Dark Spectre sent him on a mission to release Rita Repulsa from her moon prison, but his spaceship was eventually shot down due to defense cannons that were placed by Zordon himself and his faithful robot boy Alpha 5. His ship crashed down, and Psycho Green decided to take a long nap, waiting for someone to come to the rescue. 100 years later, he was woken up Avatar-style by the arrival of astronauts Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin in the 1969 moon landing. All fresh and ready to fight, Psycho Green roamed around finding the Blue and Black Rangers of the time and decided to casually drop a boulder on them. The 3 remaining members of the 1969 Ranger team fought and claimed victory. Fun fact, Grace, the Red Ranger, found Psycho Green's dagger and kept it. This could have something to do with Tommy Oliver's Green Ranger origin and how the weapon got to Earth. Eventually, Zordon's wave wiped out most villains, but Psycho Green ended up being protected from it, most probably because he used a mix of both Dark Spectre's power and the Morphin Grid to stay powerful and young forever. Obviously, there's more to tell about these Psycho Rangers, as they were revived in the 2019 comic book The Psychopath. But I think we got our fair share of psychos for the day, huh? Taking into account Corone still has some access to her dark powers, she might just be able to create a whole new team of unique Rangers, but that's a theory for another day.